You know where it said like that he said he might be the grandfather in the previous chapter at the very end, might be. So I'm just trying to find the part where if he finally defines it. Pretty sure.
Well, everyone else like kind of figures it out. Miss Thomas is like, oh, wait, so that was 4 years ago. It was like everything they put it together.
Do they like claim it in chapter 19?
Yeah.
All right, so I do want to give us time to
Okay.
compare.
I think
so,
you'll be able to understand.
No, that's perfect. What I also want you to do is just take a few minutes to kind of maybe copy this down as well. So because 10% or less of the students were kind of like on track to demonstrate that they understood the standard or mastered the standard, we're going to use modeling as the reteach. We would use that guided discourse if most of the kids really understood it. And then they could move on to like more comprehensive writing. But right now we're going to go back because like in our gap, it said that the kids needed to be guided a little bit more.
I've never shown them a summary, but everything that I have modeled for them, they usually do better because they have something to reflect on. That's why today's lesson I have something.
Right. And so what I would like you to think about is that the reteach plan for this is going to be modeled precisely the thinking when presenting the task. So again, you're going to write a summary. These are going to be the targets for this task. Really be focused about that. The way you're going to do that is narrowing the focus, modeling the steps that students need to follow to write the summary, and then modeling how we activate prior knowledge. I put this because I'm thinking about, again, that personal connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Using what they already know and then.
Yeah. And so think about that. Thanks for writing it down. And then I want to show you, or actually let's take a look at what you got. What did you put for the, just kind of like go through your ideas there.
So I'll talk to you as between students. All right, class. So we just finished our book. End of recording. All right, class, track me in 3, 2, 1. Missing few scholars. Eyes on me. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. All right, so now that we've read chapter 19 in Bud Not Buddy, what I want you to do is think about Bud's journey that has led him to this point in the chapter. I want you to think about what Bud has experienced and how he may be feeling from those experiences. There was a major event in this chapter, so what I want you to do today is read this quote from chapter 19 and write me a 5-sentence summary about some experience you've had that relates to the theme in this quote. And then blah blah blah, here's the quote. All right. So for example, let's see. I don't have a quote.
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
All right. So thank you, Ms. Katie, for that role play. That was awesome. So I think that was a great way to kind of get the kids, engaged in your introduction of the summary. So now what I'm going to do is have you look at mine and think about what is the same and different about what your example did, because I know that's where you were. But think about what is different and if you would add anything or if you would steal from mine.
Sentence frames too. That's important.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Do you think that sentence frames would help?
And I started adding it to some of my PowerPoint slides, like when my advisor came.
Yeah, I know that you did that. I know that you did that.
And I need to do that more. I'm like always running out of time, but at the same time.
Right.
you know.
So take a few minutes and adjust yours,
Okay.
and continue it. And I loved your role play, so we'll do that one more time after you, well, there's another big idea there, I think, that I have. It's a little bit different.
I like how
I don't
you-
even know if it's appropriate to use a graphic organizer for this.
I actually like how you did it, but by the way, because what Ms. Walsh has been teaching me about like first reads and second reads. So the first read, just reading to get an idea, and then second one kind of reading for just like diving in deeper. I see that you're doing it here. So you read the example, and then you point out the different parts of your example, and then tell them what you're looking for, and then telling them to go.
What?
So am I just writing all over it? Or?
Oh, the 5 W's. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Let's talk about that. So with those two things, and then adding the 5 W's, because I think you mentioned that earlier.
And they know the 5 W's too.
Yeah, and they know the 5 W's. So let's rewrite, just add to, I don't rewrite it, but add to yours, especially like the instructions on what you just mentioned from my example.
Okay.
Your start was spectacular, by the way. Yeah, it was really good.
I try not to be too wordy, but that's always been.
Oh no,
a
economy
difficulty
of
mine.
language is very good.
I think I get more wordy when I have a hard time getting my point across, so like looking for that 1 or 2 words versus like a whole sentence. I think that's something I struggle with too, like.
I think something that Ms. Walsh does really well is, I've seen her do it, and is she's great with economy of language and pacing. She'll give the kids their instructions, and if she thinks of something that she wanted to add later while the kids are working, then she'll kind of say it as they're working. Don't forget to do this, or another thing you might want to think about is this.
Or pointing out what someone's doing really well across the room, like, ooh, I like how this person's.
Yeah, that's why it's
writing the
important.
gist.
I think that's why it's important to script out what you're planning to say, and then if you think of something later, that's good. That'll help you with your economy of language and not being too worried.
I agree. I agree. Wait, did you, before you gave official directions, did you read your example and then give them instructions?
I read them the example first.
Before giving
Before
instructions? Okay. I'm looking at all this now right here, and it's making me think I want to shrink it and steal like what you had.
You can do that.
Like, it's making me want to like take it and just be like, okay, this is what I did first, this is what I did next, and, like read it, and then I'm just having a hard time adding it in.
You can use them.
Because like it's very like wordy from like all of this.
Yeah, here. For our practice right now, I'm going to share this with you anyway.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and tell me what you're thinking.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So.
Again, like if we were the kids.
Mm-hmm. So, oh, okay, like actually read it.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
whatever, however you changed it.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I'm going to share this with you. So
Alright.
this is going to be a continuing conversation.
All right. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend that I already have your attention. So now that we've read chapter 19 in Button Up Buddy, let me read you my summary example. Blah 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 blah. So for I'm a little confused on where to add that in though. Like, okay. So
or you can just read it from here.
Okay. First, what I did for my summary is I was thinking about this specific quote from chapter 19, and I was thinking about an experience that I've had that relates to the theme in this chapter, or relates to the theme of this quote. And then I remember this one time when I was sitting in a parking lot and I got a voicemail that my mom had passed. And it made me think about this situation where his whole family just learned that the mom had passed as well. And this was a big deal for them, and it reminded me of how big a deal it was for me when my mom passed.
Yeah.
So
let me stop you right there.
Yeah, I'm actually taking real events.
Great. That's, I mean, the personal nature of that is like going to be, it would be very, very, very powerful. And then going from that to, okay, now for you guys, and then because the kids have experienced loss, and whether it's loss of, on one end, a pet rock, which is significant for some kids, or like actually losing a family member, like a parent, you know what I mean? So they've done it too, and it's real. And so just to summarize, what we did was we took and we picked the standard that was most appropriate. We created a know and show chart so that we could see what the kids would need to show us to prove that they mastered the standard. And then we looked at student work. We figured out that a gap that the students had was that they needed to be guided a little bit more in writing a summary. And so what we chose was modeling instead of guided discourse, because less than 10% of the kids were where we want them to be. And so what we're going to do is model precisely when we do this assignment again. And this is going to take a lot of preparation, right? It's not going to be just write a summary, everybody. It's going to be
think about a time you
think about this, or whatever the situation. If to reteach this, that would be really perfect, especially if you have the if poem backing you up.
Announcing the theme might help too, so like reading that quote and then saying like the theme of that quote maybe.
Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. We're going to continue to plan with this. This is going to be organic. It's not going to be like MO. And narrowing the focus, modeling the steps that the kids need to follow, and then model how to activate prior knowledge just like you did.
Yeah.
All right? And so I'm going to encourage you to work with Ms. Walsh, myself, to get a good script ready for that reteach. Okay?
Definitely.
All right.
Am I reteaching this, or is it going to be?
I would, personally, I would do that. And because you have the if poem now, like you just said, I just don't know how that fits into your lesson planning right now, because you said that you were starting something else.
Yeah, because we just finished the, we finished up with the if poem yesterday because we did the mid-assessment. And now today we're supposed to move on to Steve Jobs' model essay right here. So they're supposed to read, annotate, and all that. So we're kind of moving on to something else.
Can I talk now?
Yes.
I would say